Welcome back to the Crystal Game Engine series. Today I'm going to go over some new features in the engine. The first one is reorganizing the code. So if you remember from last episode, I had this huge example layer with a ton of code in it, and I was pushing that layer, and that was it. So instead of using this example layer, I've moved the sandbox to a different file, or at least the layer that I'm using for the sandbox, to the Sandbox2D to test all the 2D capabilities of the engine. And then I'm pushing that layer instead of using the example layer. So the example layer, this is no longer being used right now. And so it's just using the Sandbox2D one. So if we look in here, there's a ton more UI code, which I'll show off in a second, which does some really cool stuff. I've also added Renderer2D, which can do stuff like draw quad and draw rotated quad. You can select your own texture to load in now with the UI, which is pretty cool. So I'll show that off. So you can zoom in and zoom out. You can, if you look at this inspector window, you can change the material of both of these squares individually now, like this. Now I can change this one to like a red. And then here's all the transforms, so I can change their position with this UI. So up, down, left, right, forward, back. The size of it, so the scale on both axes. And the same with this one, except this one is a rotatable quad, so you can rotate it, as you can see, on the Z-axis, and it scales and all that cool stuff. And then you can do the same. This is just a giant quad with the texture on it. It's rotatable as well, so I can expand this if I want to. And then, where things get cool, you can actually load in your own image. So I can use this, and I've created this pixel art, just the logo for the engine that I might use. So it's pretty neat. You can load in your own images. I can change it back to the checkerboard like that. There you go. So yeah, that's pretty much the features that I've implemented, but of course there are errors and things that I need to fix, such as if you type in an invalid path like this, which crashes, or if you type in one. So I've made the length, I look over here, I've made the length 1,000 characters, so that, you know, you'd probably never go over that, but if you did, which I can try. I don't know if it's gonna hit 1,000 or not, but the point is, if you go over 1,000, yeah, it'll crash like that. So I do need to fix some things. But yeah, it's pretty much the progress so far. Thanks for watching. I almost forgot to mention, I've also added asserts to Crystal. So if you like run it, and I showed you earlier that you could crash it by entering a invalid path. So let's say you just do that, and then you click OK. So it's gonna crash. But if you look here, it'll actually say assertion failed to load image. So at least you'll know why your application crashed. So yeah, that's pretty much it for this episode. Please show your support by liking and subscribing, and that's it.